Hey, this is Dr. Missy. Welcome. I told you I'd be putting out the compass whenever we had updates and things that were going on. Felt led today to put one out because of the full moon last night. If you weren't tracking with news and whatnot, we had a super moon, flower moon, blood moon last night. And what does that mean for you? If you're an intercessor or a front runner, what it basically means is that they've released high-level witchcraft against you, spells, things like that. So contingent upon which zodiac sign your birth month is. Now that's the fleshly clock. That's the devil's clock, is the zodiac. The Mazzaroth are the 12 tribes of Israel. Those are God's characteristics. That's your new name if you were born again. So dependent upon your birth sign will be contingent upon which tribe you now reside in. So you still have to work through your flesh as we move through this C2 time, which is chamber 2 of God's heart. We have chamber 1 is January 1 through April 30th. Chamber 2 is April 30th through crosses over into C3 in September 15th. It's the refiner fire portion. It's the hardest portion, which is the first part of it, where everything you didn't get delivered of in C1 comes up in C2. So let's go back to your zodiac sign, the devil's clock. If you're earthbound, if you're stuck in your flesh, you're going to be highly impacted by full moons, okay, especially if you're a Cancer sign, okay, because Cancer signs are tied to the moon. They're tied to their emotions, okay. All signs are usually affected by moon, or the lesser light. It's what the enemy calls the lesser light. And so they use magic, all types of magic, moon magic especially, to enhance or to transform into deeper darkness. That's what Satanists and witches use it for. Okay, so what are they releasing it against you for now? Okay, what I've noticed in the last, well, since yesterday, actually, especially today, I got up, we were being pummeled within our vision and our mandate by fiery arrows, where the enemies tried to hinder you from seeing the end from the beginning of a thing. They're hindering your eye gate, ear gate, mouth gate, touch gate, feet gate, 7 and 12 heart gates, to where the flow of the Lord can't flow as easily out of your gates. So they're also putting different types of weapons and filters on those gates. You need to strike those down with the rod of God and use the courts of heaven, putting restraining orders against that mess. You stop them in their tracks. Stop them in their tracks. So that's one way. The other way is by jacking with your time. I've noticed the last 3 weeks that there didn't seem to be enough time in my day to get things done. And I thought, I'm not doing anything different. This is so strange. But there doesn't seem to be enough time for me to get things done. And I thought, this is the devil. This is witchcraft. And so it started showing me that the enemy is releasing spells against our time, or things timing, keeping us in the right timing, in the right alignment with God. Okay? So in order to fight effectively, now I told you I was going to put out the compass every time I got an update, and I haven't put too many out. This is my second one. It's because not too many things have happened yet. Everybody's tracking right along. So what changed? What changed is that we're at the end of this testing as a nation, and the enemy's throwing everything at us in the kitchen sink. Okay, so that's why the witchcraft is intensified. That's why things seem weirder in the spirit. That's why everybody's getting into the 5 red flags of witchcraft, which are fear, doubt, unbelief, discouragement, and depression. If you found yourself experiencing any of these negative emotions, that's a signification that high levels of witchcraft are operating around you. So you're going to have to strike those down and nullify them, put permanent restraining orders against them. What am I talking about? I'm talking about operating in the courts of heaven as a front runner, as an intercessor. If you're unaware of how to operate and pray in that regard, you need to go grab a few books. One by Robert Henderson, Ron Horner, Praying Medic also teaches about it. Grab some books, learn about it. It's the newest method for intercession. You're going to have to learn. You're going to have to, lest you stay stuck. And so, welcome to Contraction Point 2. I already talked to you guys about how I think it sucks. I hate Contraction Point 2. I've never liked it. But, and forgive me, Lord, but it's just difficult. It's a difficult thing. The purpose of Contraction Point 2 is to teach us all how to attain the mind of Christ. It's a battle of the mind. So if God gave you a prayer assignment before this point, you don't let go. You don't let go of it, because you will have what you say. And you don't speak negatively over it. If you can't speak the word of God, then don't say anything. You keep making your decrees. You keep moving forward in the pathway that God has you on. Because even though the enemy's throwing everything in the kitchen sink at you, it's a test you're walking through, a testing of your mind, as well as testing the vision and the dream God gave you. It's being tested. It's all being tested. How well do you take a test? How well do you hold on to your dream? How well do you hold on to the truth? How well do you hold on to the prophetic unction that God told you before you started the test? While you're moving up into higher dimensions of God's Spirit. You move from faith to faith and glory to glory. So, dependent upon your calling as well, your birth sign too, it's going to determine how well you fare in contraction point 2. So we're all moving through the full moons together. Some signs are more sensitive to the full moon than others, especially Cancers. I'll reiterate that, because there's moon magic implemented there, cosmos magic, all these things that work with the sun, moon, and stars. And if you're affected by that, I mean, you're going to have to stay abreast of that and stay on top of that. But the other grouping that I need to bring into this conversation is those of you born with the gift of love. If you're born with the gift of love, you're born for the fire, because all that resides around the throne of God, God is love, is fire. Okay? So as we move through C2, you're moving through the fire, chamber 2 of God's heart. It's the fiery part of his heart, the refining part of his heart. You're learning, for those of you born with the gift of love, that it may not bug you as much or affect you as much as it would somebody who wasn't born in that fiery sign. The fiery signs in the chamber of God's heart are going to be Taurus, Aries, Taurus, and then I want to say Gemini. Those are the 3 signs born in the fire. Okay? So it's Aries, Taurus, and Gemini are made for the fire. And those of you with the gift of love. So it's not going to affect you as much. You're actually in your finest element. But you are going to have to watch the moons. You're going to have to stay abreast of that and keep striking down their rituals, their rites, their ceremonies, all types of magic. You're going to have to break it off. Okay? You're going to have to stay on top of it if you want to continue moving upward into the heart of God. Through C2 into C3 as we move towards the 9th of Av and into the high holy days. You're doing great. God's got a plan for you. And if you can stay on top of this and take your thoughts captive, take the lies captive that he's pummeling your mind with and pummeling your emotions with, vain imaginations. What is a vain imagination? It's where we get hit with a thought, it triggers our emotion, and our mind starts thinking about all these crazy scenarios that aren't even true, which is based on fear. It evokes fear. That's one of the 5 red flags of witchcraft. Fear is false evidence appearing real. You've got to strike these things down. Okay, if you want to be effective and attain more of the Spirit of God, more of the mind of Christ, that's the way to do it. Know that I love you. I'll see you tomorrow on the 15-Minute Rev. And until then, have a blessed Sunday. Bye-bye.